Hey guys, Kamina the Koach here. I am gonna drink my coffee this time, so sorry if that is offensive to anyone. I'm doing this before I go to work, and I just need this coffee today. Welcome back if you've been following my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kamina the Koach. This channel was originally dedicated to help people get it together to start working and living abroad. I've worked and lived over a decade in 9 different countries, in higher education training, and some in high schools and junior highs. When COVID came in March of 2020, I moved back to the United States, and I rededicated this channel to helping others who are struggling through early childhood trauma and adoption trauma, which is AKA just about all of us. As I work through reunion, I am a transracial adoptee, adopted by white parents, and I am a late discovery adoptee. Anyways, so this video is going to be about the prior, not the former. So this is actually more a working abroad education related video, and kind of predictions and projections for the future. I've talked about this before. I think people kind of put their hands over their ears when I said this before. Really, when I said it initially, I was really just parroting what somebody else had said. As time went on, as I worked and lived abroad, especially in the Middle East, it became very apparent what was going to happen for at least those of us in higher education. Specifically, those of us who don't have PhDs in a specific field, so we can't actually go into professorship. So when I did my CELTA back in 2012 in Beijing, one of my instructors was from New Zealand, and it was an older guy, and he had been in the ESL business for a really long time. And he said, prepare yourself because the ESL field will eventually disappear. Now, I don't know. I mean, maybe disappear, I don't know. But the world definitely as we knew it. When I first came abroad, I think I was either right in the heyday of ESL or right at the tail end. And I'm talking about during times when people with no degrees were making at least $1,000 a month, and people with degrees could make up to $5,000 a month and had never even taught before. So I've definitely done videos on the Azations. I have a hard time with people complaining about this stuff, because to me, ultimately, we're coming to these places to teach them to teach their own, like train the trainer type situations. So it's kind of like a pat on the back once they don't need us anymore. So definitely in the Gulf, there was a move of azation where you had really had to step up your proof of education. Your first degree had to be like directly in the field that you were teaching, and just more and more requirements, more and more hours of teaching for less and less money, and not as great packages as they used to give. Even flight tickets for some places fell off. Some places would just give you a reimbursement of a portion of your ticket after you completed an amount of time. And that was largely due to the fact that these ministries of workforce and education were saying, if you can hire a local over a foreigner, you should. Also connected to the drop in oil prices as well, because the Gulf countries were living primarily off of oil. I was in the Gulf when oil prices dropped drastically and witnessed it and witnessed what happened and the imposition of the tariffs, and because it was wildly tax free up until that time. I'm rambling. So let me get back to the point. So Azation started 2015-ish, something like that, 2014, 2015. And we've been, especially ESL teachers, have been essentially kind of phased out of universities. People get, their positions get made obsolete, and they kind of just push them on out the door and say, thank you, no thank you. So where a lot of people turn their noses up. So what the point of all of this is, I'm currently in Baghdad in Iraq, and a lot of people turn their noses up at this position, but honestly, this is one of the last of its kind. It's really, really high paying. You still get flight tickets. There is a reasonable insurance package. You have a choice to take it or not take it. It's only $250 a month for internet, for global health insurance, and medical lift and all that stuff. So reasonably priced medical insurance if you want it. It's not provided. Again, this is something that we see change as the world changes, but they're paying a lot. We're only teaching 20 hours. It is a relatively chaotic. The school, the universities have only been open like 2 years. So it is relatively chaotic. If you've ever worked at a new university or new school, you know. Um, it's indicative of this region in the world. Um, Sweetest students ever, by the way. Spectacular. And I don't mean one or two, like amazing, amazing people. But so here's the thing, people turn their noses up at it, but this is, like I said, one of the last of its kind. Most places, you've really got to get your own housing. Yeah, they might pay you well. You've got to get your own housing. You might have to pay a portion of your plane ticket. This place is still paying for plane tickets, still paying really good, providing full housing. How long will that be? Um, Even now, 2 years post opening, even now, teachers are starting to have to pay for little stuff that was free here before. The water that you see here behind me, apparently before I got here, was free for teachers. And now we have to pay for it. It's not very much, it's less than a US dollar. It's not that much, but it's an indication of what is to come. Um, so my supervisor feels like the ELA department will never be phased out, and that may be true. However, what will likely come eventually is an increase, either an increase of hours, increase of students. So our classrooms are no more than 20 students. We're teaching no more than 20 hours. Um, I'm only preparing one lesson. So I teach two classes, but I'm only preparing one lesson for those two classes. So I'm only preparing for 2 hours a day. So what is that? I'm preparing 10 hours a week. Now, don't get it twisted. I am working 13, 14 hours a day to keep up with all the things they're requesting of us, but I get to prep from home. They don't have, but that's because they don't have office space. And it will have probably eventually be that I will have to move into an office. It's just new. So, um, I guess I'm just doing this video to kind of say that I think it's odd that people are turning their noses up at this, as ESL teachers anyways, because this is the death of ESL, or at least the death of ESL as we knew it. And this is kind of the last of it. This is the most money I've ever made. And since I came abroad in 2011 or 12, and this is the most money I've ever made. I've made this much one other time, but I was teaching 32 hours. So this is by far the best package that I've ever gotten. Is it going to stay this way? Probably not, and probably not for much longer. I gave myself 2 to 5 years. I'm hoping for this too. I'm hoping it will stay like this for at least another year to 2 years, but there's no telling how much longer. You see that I have a lot of light. That will change. They didn't have enough space when I came in, so they put me in a professor apartment, and they will eventually tell me with probably 1 day notice, oh yeah, you've got to move tomorrow. I fully expect it, but nonetheless, despite there's a an undercurrent of chaos here, kind of a hum of disorder. Despite all of that, I'm good still. I have a plan for what I'm doing with my income here. I'm not just traveling the world and seeing things. I do have a plan for this. Um, Again, it's spectacular teaching conditions. The students are great. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful and I'm soaking up what is left of this because I recognize that it's on the way out. There will probably always be some degree of positions, but the money that we used to make, in addition to the cushy teaching hours, I don't think it's cushy. I think it's appropriate. To be a good teacher or instructor, you really need to be teaching less hours so you have the time to prepare, so you can prepare quality. Just my 2 cents. Um, so, anyways, that is what is going on with me. That is my perspective about what's going on in the world. I don't think people should be turning their noses up at where I am. You kind of see the situation that I'm living in. Even when they move me, it'll be still a brand new apartment. Won't be sun like this, but it will still be a brand new apartment, fully furnished with everything I need in it. And I just can't really see where you have room to complain when you're at a position where you're teaching 20 hours a week, when you can work from home. And I don't know. I don't really get it. Um, do I feel safe? Well, I feel safer just about anywhere than I do in the United States. Um, so as always, my name is Kamina the Koach, sending you a love, light, peace, and joy. Happy Valentine's Day if you get down with that kind of stuff. I'm always sending you love. It doesn't really matter the day. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.